Westbrook has been great and a real bright spot for the Lakers. Him and LeBron James have really seemed to be building that connection. That, past LeBron to Russ to Bron to back to Russ. Like, it's just beautiful basketball watching these two work together. And this is kind of what we hope for with these two guys. And I love seeing the success for Russ. I know a lot of people make fun of me for, being sort of a Russ stan and stuff, but I do. I want the success for Russell Westbrook. He's a Laker. Why wouldn't I want him to be successful on the Lakers, right? And has he been perfect? Of course not. Nobody's been perfect. But the fact that he was willing to embrace the role and take accountability and do a lot of the things that many believe that he would never do, he's done it and he's really thrived. There are questions about his competitive nature. There's videos that come out which I agree are not good looks at all. Like when LeBron's, be greedy, everyone's, pumped up, like, hey, we need to keep winning. And Russ is like, hey, just have fun. It's all fun, right? Like, there are definitely flaws in Russell Westbrook. I'm not completely blind to those things. But to question Russ's competitiveness and his drive, I do think is silly. I mean, Russ, yes, is he fun? Is he happy-go-lucky? Does he want? But he is there night in and he is the model employee. You can always count on him night in and night out. His toughness, his just relentlessness, his energy, everything. There's no question that Russell Westbrook is an ultimate competitor. He's got that drive that is absolutely incredible, right? And so with that, he's really embraced that, again, that accountability. And we saw that on display in yesterday's Houston game, right? The commentators even pointed it out that going into halftime, Russell Westbrook was hashing it out with the coaches. He's telling the coaches that they need to be better than that. They need to be better than that. And you saw Phil Handy, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook kind of standing there and, just having this conversation. Like, Russ wasn't blowing up, Like, they even tried to make it seem like, I don't know why he'd be... Like, it wasn't like he was just a rampage over there and just screaming at everybody. No, they were having a conversation and he's just talking to him. Phil Handy's like, putting his hand on his shoulder, just trying to understand what is going on. He's saying, you guys just got to be better than that. I love it. I do. I absolutely love the accountability. Darvin Ham, from day one, what was the big thing he tried to get across? Accountability. I'm going to hold LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, the coaching staff, anybody. I'm going to hold everybody accountable, everybody. And everybody needs to hold each other accountable. So I love that Russ, hey, Darvin, you said this, you want accountability, let's do this accountability. And they should be holding the coaches accountable, right? The game against the Sixers was completely atrocious and uncalled for. And Darvin Ham has had some blunders, without a doubt. He's a rookie head coach. He's made a lot of rookie head coaching mistakes, a lot of them this season. There have been games that we should have won that we it looks like we lost because of Darvin Ham. And look, you got to take the bad with the good. I don't think he's a bad coach by any means. I know some people think he's the worst coach ever. They need to fire him, all that stuff. He doesn't really have a ton of talent, right? He's been dealing with injuries. He got Russell Westbrook to do what they said could not be done, right? Like, he is definitely a player's coach. I do think he has a bright future. I do think he is a good coach. There are questions about his X's and O's and things that come with longevity in coaching, right? Like, even the greatest coaches that we know of all had poor seasons, all had poor runs. I mean, even like Miami, right? When LeBron James and all of them came, there were they wanted Pat Riley to come down and be the coach because they didn't want a rookie head coach, and the X's and O's were a big problem. Eventually, they figured it out, and they won some championships, right? You got to give Darvin Ham some time to make those mistakes, make those errors. It's just unfortunate the Lakers aren't good enough to ride out those errors, right? Like, you want to, okay, like, we're good enough to where if he makes a mistake or two, it's not costing us the game entirely. That is been the case, right? With the Sixers game, you should have called a timeout, you should have set up a play. Even if you wanted Russ to have the ball and be in that position, run the play. Set it up to where he can get it and go downhill, get some steam. Maybe LeBron's giving him an entry pass as he's getting, getting some forward progress, like something like that, right? Not just, oh, it's a broken play, let's get up there. And I do understand you're trying to get back before the defense was set. Russell Westbrook was clearly fouled. I mean, you can see the image. I have the video on this channel. You can clearly see Joel Embiid grabbing Russ's wrist, as clear as day, grabbing his wrist. But nonetheless, it was a poor decision by Darvin Ham to call. He should have called a timeout. And you create this culture in which you want people to have accountability and hold each other accountable. That the coaches are not above that. The coaches are making poor decisions and are not doing what they're supposed to be doing as coaches, then it should be the players' rights to speak up, right? Like that was the thing with Frank Vogel. That was the thing that's why Frank Vogel lost Russ's respect, but also lost the team's respect, right? Like, because he never held anybody accountable. He never wanted to be the bad guy. He never wanted to speak up, right? Like Darvin Ham, he's, from what we've seen, willing to talk to these guys, allows these guys to have a voice, allow these guys to have an opinion, allow these guys to express their frustration. You need that. That's good, right? Like these guys are together 24/7, 365. These guys are closer than each other's family, right? Like there's going to be fights. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be scuffles. There's going to be, moments of just not the greatest. Hopefully not to the level of like Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, but you get what I'm saying. Like arguments, disagreements, discussions, right? You need to be able to call each other out. These guys are competitive. These guys are guys that are out there that are, working their tail off to achieve ultimate heights. You don't get to that point unless you're competitive and want to win and want to be that, especially Russ. You don't get to the point where Russell Westbrook is if you don't care about nothing, you don't care about winning, you don't care about nothing. He just has a very different approach to it than somebody like a LeBron James. It's more of an obsession for LeBron. I don't know if Russ has that obsession to win. He has the obsession for basketball. He has the obsession for greatness, but I don't think he necessarily defines that by winning. And where LeBron, all he cares about is I need to win, we need to get wins, and that's why he's considered, the greatest player of all time, or up there as one of the greatest players of all time. But Russ shouldn't be the only one speaking out against the coaches, right? I mean, you don't do it publicly, right? You don't come on the podium and be like, our coaches are trash, right? You don't do something like that. You do it. They were on their way to the tunnel and he was talking about it, right? There was no mics there. There were no sound bites. There was no nothing. You went, approached them, told Phil Handy with LeBron James there, hey, this is the situation. You guys need to be better. You guys need to do better. I love it. The coaching has not been very good this season. It just hasn't, all right? Like Darvin Ham does have some great play sets. He does. Like you watch some of their sets out of timeouts and it's really good. They usually get a bucket, right? He's allowed these guys to have more freedom. He's allowed these guys to, he's gotten Russ to do, again, what people believe was impossible. What many believed would never be done. He got Russell Westbrook to buy in, accept the role as the sixth man, and gave Russ the freedom. One of the great things about, Ham is that he's really, from day one, established that I'm here for the players. He was a player. He understands what it's like. He's won a championship. Like he gets and understands the aspects, right? He understands it from a personnel standpoint. He's got to figure out the X's and O's. And he has guys on his coaching staff that are there to help that. And when none of them are doing that, none of them are having that success, then you need to be able to hold them and say, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not doing what needs to be done. We need to have this get done, right? Like you need to be better. And I love Russ challenging them, calling them out, holding them accountable. Because him as a player, I guarantee you the coaches talk to him and hold him accountable. I'm sure LeBron holds him accountable. Darvin Ham held him accountable. All of those things, right? Darvin Ham's going to ride for his guys. You hear it in the press conferences and stuff. But what goes on behind closed doors, I'm sure that they've talked to Russ. I mean, you can tell there have been times where Russ is not very happy in that locker room. And, like he was just told or reprimanded or whatever. And that should be. Everybody from top to bottom should be held accountable. Just like we love LeBron James calling out the front office and telling them that, that they need to get a trade done. So I love that stuff. Speak up. Say what you got to say. Same thing with Russ. Talk about it. Tell them like, hey, we need the coaches to be better. We need them to call that timeout. We need them to, do whatever. Run the plays. Make the right rotations. And again, Darvin Ham is not without flaws. The 4-guard lineups have been rough at times, although it's not like he has much to work with when like 90% of your roster are undersized guards, and those are like your best players and your rotation guys, then, you kind of don't have an option, especially when like all your sizable guys are out. But there are times where he could run other guys and just doesn't. You know, like you have like the super undersized certain matchups, sure, right? Like against Houston, yeah, we had LeBron at the 5 for a good stretch with guards around him. You know, and like JTA were our wings, and Brown were like our 2 wings, and then we had like Russ and Schroeder, right? I didn't mind that lineup because of the matchup against the Rockets, right? Like that wasn't, you weren't playing some sizable lineup, but like I like that he's made corrections. Like against the Sixers, we went big, right? We started LeBron, JTA, Troy Brown, Dennis Schroeder, and Thomas Bryant. Like I love that stuff, right? I love the size. I love when he makes those decisions and he goes big. I understand that he's trying to find the best lineups, and he's trying to learn on the fly, and he doesn't have a lot of talent. He doesn't have the best roster ever, right? And he's trying to navigate, okay, well, does this 5 work good? Does this 5 work good? And yes, he's going to have hiccups. He's going to have bad moments. He's going to have good moments. But, you know, what does he do over the entirety of this season and the seasons going forward? I do believe he needs a fair chance. I do believe, I've stuck up for Darvin Ham a lot. I've had people in my live streams, you know, say to all kinds of things about Darvin Ham, and I've said, you know, you got to give the guy a chance. Because I do. I mean, he's a first-year head coach. He has coaching experience as an assistant, but being an assistant and being the guy are 2 different things. Very different things. And he's trying to figure it out, navigate it, and learn on the fly, just like this team is in many ways. And we just don't have enough talent to make up for the lack of, you know, quality coaching, right? Like, would it be great to have, like, Budenholzer? Sure. But it's not going to happen. We got Darvin Ham. We need to ride with Darvin Ham. He, I think, is a guy that can lead the charge, that can really lead the Lakers and be a great coach for the foreseeable future. I really do. I think he's a guy that has his players buying in and has them believing. And that was something Vogel did not do. He did not have his players believing. He did not have his players buying in. Jason Kidd was the voice in the locker room. Jason Kidd was the connection to the players. And as soon as Jason Kidd left, there was a reason that we went downhill as far as that team and coaching wise went, because Kidd was the equalizer. He was the guy that could understand LeBron and talk to LeBron and, you know, talk to Russ and all that stuff, right? I mean, he wasn't there for us, but I'm saying, like, I think Jason Kidd could have gotten Russ to do a lot of the things that Darvin Ham has gotten, because he understands that he's there. You know, and he's not afraid to call you out on your BS, which Darvin Ham seems to be that guy, and that's why Russ has respected that. That's why Russ has honored that. That's why Russ listens to him and actually is willing to do whatever, because he's like, hey, I'm here with you, man. You don't think that they want my head on a chopping block? Of course they do. You know, but we're in this together. We got to figure this out together. And I love that. And I love seeing Russ hold them accountable. Your star players, the most important guys on your team, should be the guys that are the most loud. They are the guys that should be holding the coaches accountable, holding the organization accountable, holding other players accountable, and holding themselves accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable. And I know some people don't think that Russ does. You know, I think some people, you know, they see the interviews and stuff. He's not going to talk to the media. He's not going to hold himself accountable to the media. He doesn't like the media. He would never even talk to the media if he didn't have to. But I'm sure he holds himself accountable in that locker room. We don't know what goes on when the cameras are off, everything's there, and it's just them in that locker room. But I love seeing this. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think? Do you agree? I love it. I love seeing Russ, you know, call out the coaching staff, you know, holding guys accountable. Do you not? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments section below.